with me is Rylie Ogden. She is the head custodian at Academy Park Elementary School, my boss, but also one of the most influential people I know when it comes to recycling and waste management. With that being said, I am curious on how and why you started recycling and being environmentally cautious when it comes to waste management.
Mostly the field that I'm in. Growing up, I didn't really think much on where all my waste was going. About reduce, reuse, recycle, but never got more on how to do that. And so when I got into custodial, being the line of defense for taking out trash and cleaning up messes and things, it's was really eye opening to see just how much stuff one facility actually gets rid of things. It's crazy. So that was like the big push. And then just kind of over the last couple of years of learning more about different resources that we have in the valley, kind of just helped make it broaden my efforts. So
Cool. Yeah, definitely working as a custodian, you learn how much recycling goes out in a day, so I can agree with that. Um, with that, as I've been working with you, I've noticed the things that you've added to the school, such as environmentally friendly trash bags, the start of the Sustainable Skyarcs Club, which is a recycling club, but most importantly, the food waste management you have initiated. Can you explain briefly the process of this food waste management and why is it so important?
honestly, like, one of the main reasons why it's so important is because when you research statistics on food waste, 1/3 of food that is produced in the U.S. alone is wasted, and that's not even necessarily food that's coming into people's household. That's food that's being produced, taken to a manufacturer, packaged, and things. But because of the quality that we think food needs to be, a lot of it is just thrown out. Being like an apple has a bruise on one side, 3/4 of that apple is still edible and still good. It's just unappealing to the eye. And so, big time, it's, yeah, people have just gotten comfortable with um, having things at their disposal. Um, yeah.
Cool. So when it so when it comes to the program that you've started with the buckets and the food waste, taking it to the place, like what is that process like? Like what do you do at the school and then like after school and things like that? What do you do with that?
Okay. Yes. So with collecting the food waste, the first step is to encourage the kids to actually eat the food that they're taking versus just letting them know that, hey, if you have extra food on your plate, put it in this bucket. Um, which I, sort out the trash, but encourage them, make it only food and things. So yeah, it's more so just starting with communicating, talking to the kids about the importance of why we don't want to waste food and the food scarcity that there is just worldwide in our country, everyday things. Um, and so collecting it's kind of hard getting like it going at first, just because nobody's really done this before. Um, I mean, and I wouldn't be able to do it without the facility that I take it to, which is Wasatch Resource Recovery in North Salt Lake, because like it's so much food that myself alone, I would have no way of composting it at home. Um, and so, yeah, really, process just comes down to communicating, monitoring, and then finding setting aside some extra time to take it up there and drop it off, kind of a thing.
Awesome. Yeah. So when you take it to this place, like what is the process that they go through? Like the process here is large in itself and you've affected, you've taken so much food, but like when they get to the what is the compost? Like what do they do?
Yeah, at Wasatch Resource Recovery, they kind of similar steps. So the programs that they're partnered with, they just express to them that um, to like minimize their contamination, which is the wrappers and the bags that the food comes in. But then they have a big old pile in their facility They have tractors come in and pick it up, and they scoop it and put it into a sorting machine, which then breaks open um, the packaging, separates it from the food, and then they run it through their large containers that are called anaerobic digesters. And with anaerobic digestion, it's a form of composting, but it's very little oxygen to like hardly any. And so how the food breaks down is there's microorganisms that are living in these containers that is eating all of this stuff. And afterwards, it sifts through it. And so as it like breaks down into the final material, then they run it out and drop it into a big pile outside, and then eventually they'll scoop it up and they send it to local farms to fertilize their crops and their soil and things. And that stuff is tested to make sure that it's healthy enough to go to the farms versus they're just going on a whim and saying, here's all this uh, organic material, good luck, and kind of a thing. So it's a constant testing that they're doing just to make sure that it is safe and it's actually doing what they're hoping it's doing. With the methane gas that comes from the food waste breaking down and stuff, they use that to power homes in the Salt Lake Valley and facilities and things too. So they're getting like two end results: the methane gas, which is going to get produced in a landfill, and then the organic material and stuff. So they're just figuring out better ways to harvest it and channel it. So.
Yeah, so they're taking just complete waste management and making it sustainable, and then taking the methane gas and forming energy, and which is awesome. When we think about Utah and this environmentally, WalletHub has ranked Utah 27 out of 50 in 2023 for the most environmentally friendly states in the world. This is a big improvement compared to our previous rank of 39, but it's still not the best. Have you seen any improvements in eco-friendliness in Utah, or do you feel like it still is like going downhill?
No, I definitely think that we have kind of improved even since 2021, just because of all of the organizations that are in Salt Lake. Well, in Salt Lake, but that branch out further than Salt Lake into Utah and things. With Wasatch Resource Recovery, they partner with other recycling programs to help provide containers and then haul it to the facilities. But then we also have like refill stores where you could take in your own containers to get products that you would normally just buy at a grocery store. And yeah, you just save your own containers, take them in, refill. It's less plastic waste and things like that. And then there's even partners out there that are before like considering food as waste, they try and salvage what they can, and then distribute it to people like in need and stuff. So, and that is called Wasteless Solution. It's pretty cool.
Okay. Sweet. So we are making some improvements, but it's not where we should be, right? Okay. Where you would hope.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. And maybe this problem is part of my next question, which is in an interview with Professor Rosalind McCann, she said that poor communication is one of the major reasons Utah is so bad at recycling. Do you feel like this is a major reason for lack of recycling and waste management?
Yeah. Definitely, because a lot of the times people aren't sure what necessarily can be recycled. Um, the Everybody has seen the triangle that's on the bottom of plastics. Yes, no, it is a symbol for recycling, but it's not. That's not what it was designed for. It's designed to tell you what kind of plastic it is, the material is made of, so that it can be, properly distributed or disposed of. Um, and there's a lot more that should be talked about with that symbol. I mean, granted, we should get a different symbol because it's not what it's made for. It's made for plastic. But people just think it's reduce, reuse, recycle, when really it's rethink, refuse, reduce, repurpose, rot, which composting, and then eventually you get to recycle. But recycle is the bottom because there's so many more steps that we can do to reduce our waste versus just, oh, I'm buying this bottle knowing that I can recycle it when there possibly is an option to get it in an aluminum can or a glass can and go from there. Um, and then, I know there's certain situations that people are in, just like maybe living in poverty or hard times and stuff. Plastic is cheaper, essentially. And so while I'm not a fan of plastic and I try and cut back as much as I can, there is some good use for it. Like, and some people just don't have a choice. So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, recycling is it's getting better, right? More people are communicating about it and things like that, but it is necessary at some times, which is good. If you were to tell everyone or one thing that you want them to know about how to improve their waste management skills or how to recycle, what would that be?
probably just rethinking, maybe not rethinking, but just giving things a bigger like thought process. Like when you're buying maybe like household materials or decorations or something like that, like is this something that you could use in another time and place, or like is there a way for you to like dispose of it properly and stuff? So I think just people just giving, yeah, just more thought on what they're buying and what they're essentially, consuming and stuff. And like same with food and stuff. Yeah, and a lot of us, think with our or we eat with our eyes versus actually like really asking ourselves, am I this hungry? We see something delicious and we're like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. But like, are you really that hungry that you're gonna want to eat all of that? Or like, yeah, just rethinking, putting extra thought into consuming.
Perfect. Well, that's all I have for you, and I really appreciate you doing this interview. um, but yeah, thank you.